Welcome to Testing with Test. I am Montoya, slapping on my testing patch. I am looking for a HOTAS system for Star Citizen, and I've scoured the internet and I've read and watched reviews, and I just haven't really found the answers I want. The two systems I'm looking at are the X55 Rhino HOTAS system and the Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog. The prices are $200 for the X55 and $400 for the Warthog, but when it comes to computer peripherals, if you're gonna spend the money, get the best you can afford, and most people will either fall into the $200 range or the $400 range. So let's go take a look. Alright, here we go, all laid out before us. I am very excited to get this all open and ready for testing. I'll admit that last night I was tempted to open it up and put it together first before this video, but I actually wanted my reactions to be the original reactions as someone who's actually never touched a HOTAS before. Now, I have a confession to make. The last joystick I touched was X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter, and this baby right here, which I had to dig out of some boxes, a Cytec ST90. It's pretty dusty, and I think it's been about 12 or maybe 14 years since I've actually used a stick. So I really have no brand preferences. I have not used a HOTAS before. I can tell just by looking at this, I'm already a bit overwhelmed by it. And let's jump right in. So here we are. First, the stick. All right. Now, wow. I'm liking the way this feels. It is plastic, and obviously it's light, but we knew that coming in. Now, the first thing that strikes me are all these buttons and controls. I have no idea what all of this will... Oh, hello, there's one there too. I have no idea what all of this will do, but let's get that down there for a second, and let's open up the throttle. I have never used a throttle before, so this is pretty exciting. It's pretty light, I guess. It's being plasticky, but okay, the bottom does seem to have some good grip. Okay, we have these plastic little things there, and that does seem to be rather non-stick. So, oh yeah, now that does feel nice. Smooth. Let's take a closer look at this thing. I don't even know where to start. All right, let's start on the side. Tension. You can adjust the tension back and forth. I'm actually liking the tension as it is. Well, I have nothing to compare it to. I'm sure the tension's pretty good. It's obviously not sliding on my desk, as you can see. And the first thing that strikes me are all these toggles and dials and switches. What in the world will these guys all do? I'll twist you and I'll pull you and... okay, this is a dial that is also a button. There's another one down here. Oh, look at that. There's more. Okay, there's one here, two here, three. I didn't even see that. I just looked at the camera. That's why I knew that they were there. I'm very overwhelmed by all these controls. I have no idea. You got to see what's happening down here. This is so busy. That's a pretty easy button. I guess that'll be, since this is throttle, this could be afterburners perhaps. That'll work nicely. I have no idea what we'll assign these keys to, these buttons to, but first impressions are just, wow, this is just completely overwhelming. But I want to get that stick mounted, and I want to feel what this will be like all together. So let's pull you out there. It's pretty light. Construction is plasticky. There's a nice metal plate on there that says X55. Black and yellow paint job. The official colors of test, which is best. And you will obviously, okay, these pins, which are kind of spring mounted, will obviously go into there, and then you turn. So I am university educated, so I should be able to do this clockwise to close. All right, so this is it. Wow, okay, this just feels great. Obviously, I've got nothing to compare it to. This is the first time I'm using a HOTAS system. I can tell you just by looking at it, I have no idea how I'm going to be able to memorize what everything does. There's just so much happening. I need to turn this around and take a look at this. There's hats here, a button there, another one there. I have no idea. This is going to be very exciting to try to figure out. So this concludes my assembly of the unit. The next thing we'll do is put together another unit so I can have them side by side. And then we'll get into the game and see how everything works together. So, let's get to it. Alright, here we are. I actually had to do a quick cut in the video there because these things are so heavy, I just couldn't manipulate them around on my desk without knocking everything over. So, the first thing I really want to get into right now is the stick. Where you just hold this thing, it weighs 10 times what the X55 does. It feels solid. So let's get this out the bag and see what we have here. Now, immediately you can tell it's metal. This is cool to the touch and it definitely has a lot of weight to it. Pretty solid. This trigger is a lot stiffer. Button placements feel pretty familiar because the X55 had the same thing. It's not as busy as the X55. There's less happening on it. I don't know if that is good or bad. I recognize this little guy. I don't know what to do with him yet. We have our couple of... Okay, that's not a hat. That's just an up and down. And you seem to be a hat type button. But let's move on. I really want to get into this throttle. Again, this thing is heavy. I see what they mean. Now, this weighs a ton. I would say it's at least 10 to 12 pounds. Let's get this plastic off. All right. Wow. All right. It is not as busy as the X55 again. It is less flashy. It is actually a recreation of the console from an A10. So, all right, so you're supposed to be fixed together. Is there a button somewhere? Yeah, I believe this one will do it. All right, there we go. That does feel pretty solid. Initial impression, the X55 is pretty much on par with the feel of the throttle. This one seems to have more range to it. It also pivots a lot higher. Not that it'll make any difference. And again, there's just buttons everywhere. Do you have buttons here too? Yes, you do. Let me just hold it up because it's all facing me. But yeah, there are 3 buttons on the end there. And this red one for the pinky. The X55 had some better button placement. Again, I don't know what the buttons will be used for. And there should be a tensioning. Here we are. Friction, decrease, increase. Let's decrease this friction to the end, see what it feels like. Very soft. I like that. All right, let's get the stick on the base here. I want to feel what this is like. Hands on throttle and stick. Immediately you can see that this is very different from the X55. This is a flat piece of metal right here. And pretty chunky. The connector is completely different. You have a single piece that goes in. Let's get that in there and see what this all feels like. Easy. Easy. There we go. All right, I'm getting excited. Here we go. Hands on throttle and stick, first time on the Thrustmaster Warthog. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Ooh, okay. I see why this is a $400 piece of equipment. First of all, there's no spring, there's no cone spring like the X55. I'm not sure what system this uses. I'll have to investigate that. But the stick feels smoother. It's rolling on a ball versus fighting a spring, if that analogy works. Now, one of the first things I noticed is there's no twist. So I was planning on using twist to roll in Star Citizen. We'll have to see if I can assign it to a hat, or maybe it'll go onto one of my thumbs. Or I'll have to get the pedals. But we'll see if that makes a big difference or not. Otherwise, this feels really good. I can tell you that I now understand why people say it is a $400 piece of equipment. It does feel like it. But let's get this into the game. I will test them out both and give you my opinions very soon.